You know that feeling, right? That awful sinking moment right after you've messed up, when the shame just feels so thick you can taste it. Well, today we are going to dive deep into a huge misunderstanding many of us have about God in those exact moments. It's a misunderstanding that keeps us stuck, and honestly, a truth that can set us free. I mean, it's a story most of us know by heart. You're doing well, you're making progress, you feel like you finally got it, and then boom, you slip up, you relapse. And in that one moment, it feels like all that hard won ground just disappears, and you're convinced you've let everyone down, especially God. It is such an exhausting and lonely cycle. So, in the source material, the main character goes through this exact thing. After he fails, he leaves this place he calls the room of grace, a place of total acceptance, and walks right back into the room of good intentions. And why would he do that? Well, because in his shame, striving and trying harder felt right. It felt like the punishment he deserved. And that experience, that feeling, it creates a very specific picture of God in our minds. Let's give it a name: the God of your shame. Now, let's be super clear. This isn't the God who actually exists. This is the one our own shame projects onto him. This God is distant, he's critical, and man is he disappointed. He's the God we've all learned to fear. Wow. This quote from the source just nails that feeling, doesn't it? That sense that with every single failure, we're pushing God further and further away, just chipping away at his hope in us. It's such a painful way to live. And it forces us to ask a really important question. What if, and just hang with me here, what if this entire picture, this distant, disappointed God with his arms folded, what if it's all a total fiction? A story we've told ourselves for so long that we actually started to believe it was real. What if it's just a lie we've been using to make our shame make sense? A lie that's actually blocking us from the truth. And bam! This is the moment everything flips. This quote is like a direct punch to the nose of the God of our shame. It's saying God isn't way over there, judging us from a distance. He isn't far away at all. The truth is, he couldn't possibly be any closer. And that idea just completely reframes the entire problem. So let's just lay it out side by side. On one side, you've got the God our shame invents, a distant scorekeeper, just waiting for us to finally get our act together. And on the other side, you've got the God who actually is, always present, literally fused with us, and completely 100% unchanged by how we perform. Getting the difference between these two, well, that's everything. This right here reveals a massive shift in what our goal even is. You know that typical religious hamster wheel that tells us to change, to try harder, be better, become something we're not? Well, this perspective says, hold on, the heavy lifting is already done. The goal isn't to change into a new person, it's to mature into the new person you already are. And this is just a brilliant way to picture it. Think about it. You don't stand over a caterpillar and scream, change, become a butterfly. Of course not. You just trust the process. Why? Because its DNA, its very core identity, is already butterfly. It just needs time and the right conditions to mature into what's already true. And the source argues the exact same thing is true for us. So this insight completely flips our identity on its head. The old way of thinking says we are sinners trying our best to become saints. But this new model says that's backward. Our core identity is that of a saint who, sometimes sins. See the difference? The actions don't get to redefine the core identity. Okay, this is the million-dollar question, right? It's a really beautiful idea, but how does it actually work when the rubber meets the road? Let's take a look at how this comforting thought becomes a seriously powerful tool for our real everyday struggles. The source uses a really powerful and, let's be honest, common example: the struggle with sexual sin. So many books and programs are all about behavior modification, tips and tricks for that moment of temptation. But they fail over and over because they're not getting to the root of the problem. Okay, here's the key. Our failures aren't just random acts. They are fueled by a set of deep underlying beliefs. And if you really look at these 5 beliefs from the text, you start to see a pattern. Every single one of them is rooted in that distorted view of a distant, dissatisfied God. And that's exactly why just fighting the behavior is so exhausting and ineffective. It's like trying to get rid of weeds by just trimming the tops. But when we shift our focus to trusting our new identity, the identity of a beloved saint who is already righteous, we're actually attacking the root beliefs that give the failure its power in the first place.
And the results? They're just not even in the same ballpark.
And it all comes back to this: how you see yourself, whether it's as a striving sinner or a maturing saint, is a direct reflection of how you actually see God. Do you see a scorekeeper you constantly have to impress, or a father you can actually trust? That connection right there changes everything. So, where do we even start with all this? The source lays out a really simple but powerful path. It starts small. Just imagine this could be true. Then you considered it. You weigh it out. You start to believe it. And then you take a risk and actually try living from this place. It's not some magic formula, but a real journey of trust that leads to real freedom. And that leaves us with one last big thought to chew on. We spend so much time and energy trying to stop failing. But what if we've been aiming at the wrong target this whole time? What if the real journey isn't about stopping failure at all, but about learning to trust the truth that because of who God is and who He's made us, we were already free from the very beginning?